Welcome back to the Cinema Cruise Point of View. And we are here to talk about House of the Dragon, Episode 2. And I see Josh got a Stark shirt on. I'm following you right here with my joint too. My little winter is coming, as you can see on there. So you got to step up, baby. You got to step up a little bit.
I got to step up, man.
What you mean? What you mean? He got the Iron Islands up here. Look at all the. What you mean?
Sure. But anyway, we're here to talk about them here with the usual suspects in the crew. First of all, my man E Money. What's good, E?
What's going on? What's going on, people? What's going on?
And of course, one of the great lords of Westeros, Mr. Josh Waring.
Lord Blackfire, right? But
Lord Blackfire.
We should have a special guest coming in soon. And where's Shelly Shell?
Shelly Shell had something to do today. She couldn't make it.
Okay.
So it's all good though. All good. So let's get into it, man. So we and that special guest, whenever she's ready, let's do it. But so we start this episode where they start off showing the crab feeder and how he's actually literally feeding the crabs, grown men, and they're not even dead yet. I thought it was dead people he's feeding them, but some of them still alive, right?
Yeah.
So, which is crazy. And then we right, that's kind of crazy. I never heard that before. So then we go back to Westeros, to the council room, and they talking about how one of the knights had died, and then all of a sudden my man Corlys storming in like, I don't know the fuck what y'all talking about, but we gotta take care of this crab feeder. That's how he stormed in there. And he said, listen, I'm losing my ships, losing my men, and I'm tired of waiting. So what we going to do about this crab feeder, dude? So then we got Otto talking about something. Listen, man, we'll compensate you for what you lost. Corey's like, fuck all that. We're going to take this nigga out. Shit like that. I'm tired of waiting. So how you felt about that? Let me start with Josh. How you felt about that scene and Corlys snapping about the crab feeder stuff?
He was justified. It was his land, number one, so he's really the only one being affected. So we know how the narcissism revolves around the crown. Like, hey, it ain't happening in the King's Landing. I don't care. And I get it. It's Game of Thrones. We understand that. But at the same time, he was very respectful and came to the king and was like, hey, listen, this threat upon the kingdom is happening. They're not respecting your shores. Mm-hmm. Now I'm the marshal of the shores, if you will. Right, best fleet, best navy in all the land.
Lord of the seas.
Lord, that's what I'm saying. So he could have easily, I'm just gonna, take care of this. But he was respectful to the crown. And I feel like he was over respectful. And I agree with Jazzo because he actually said, and I agree, that he was a little disrespectful in his tone. Actually, he was very disrespectful in his tone previous time, to the degree that we'll get to that, but. Yeah, but
all right.
So for me, I actually liked it because it reminded me of something, let's say a country north of China would do. Like those mobsters, they would do those like a thousand cuts.
Oh yeah.
Just to keep you alive.
That death of 1,000 cuts. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, keep you alive. Hey, how you feeling about my man Corlys storming in there? Like, yo, we're gonna do about the situation.
Yeah, I thought he was nutty because he should know better than storming there like that. Especially because he's not Targaryen. That's one. You know what I mean? Two, like I would know my role around stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's like running into a lion's den barking and shit. Like you liable to get fucked up or ate or just destroyed real quick. It'd be over for you, and somebody else would be commanding your fleet. So you got to watch your tone when it comes to shit like that. But I know he's a smart guy, you know what I mean? And I feel him. That shit looked so nasty. I don't make them crabs eating them dudes. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's what I'm about to ask you guys. Is this show about to get to like Lord of the Rings type? Like, is there like crazy shit going on? Like magic?
What do you mean?
And all
like
that?
Magic?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But the crab feeder seemed like he got some kind of magic with him.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility, but at the same time, I feel like these type of things occurred, let's say, below the Mason-Dixon line at a certain time period, because that's the level of cruelty that was conducted. So I'm quite certain that George R.R. Martin probably got that from stories he's heard in his upbringing.
Well, let's get another point of view, and we got a special guest in the building tonight. This girl be knowing her stuff, and I love her perspective all the time. Miss Chloe Diz. What's going on, Chloe?
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up?
What up?
We missed you last week talking about this show. We're happy to have you on this week. So,
I know. I watched it on my way home, so
that's dope.
some
That's
stuff
dope.
to say.
And I love the shirt you got too. Okay, everything. And you the only one, baby. You
I'm
got
the only one, right? Yeah.
Hey, he's still repping the Iron Isles. I got you.
Man, to tell CJ get you a shirt. Stop playing. Yeah, over there.
Nah, he need them. He need
Hey,
the white
TJ, I
dreads.
need tea.
Y'all get
Hey.
the white dreads. Get them twist them locks.
Speaking of the white dress, we just talked about this. Let's hear your perspective, Chloe, about the first scene in the episode where they're meeting in the council room talking about the death of one of their knights, and then we see Corliss storm in there and talking about how he's upset, he's ready to go get this dude, the crab feeder, and he's tired of waiting. So, how you feel about that scene, Chloe?
Okay, can I back up like just a little tiny bit
Yeah.
to the intro scene?
Okay.
Was lit. Like I was waiting.
Word. That's facts. With the blood rushing, you ain't like that, Mike?
Yeah, the original song. I loved it. Yeah.
Original song and then the blood on the.
So
blood.
Mike did not like it. Okay.
Oh.
I did love it. I said I liked it. What the hell?
All right.
If you like me, like,
Mike.
oh, that was dope.
Mike, we all know how you get when you like something. You be raving, boy.
I mean, it wasn't as good as like the Kings, the Game of Thrones, all the little parts of the Seven Kingdoms. But it was good.
Yeah.
But I think we did need the original song back, though. I think it just worked. Kind of like how remember how Power they kept the original Power song for book 2,
and then they changed it, and then they.
You don't gotta change everything. You can
just keep the same song, stuff like that. But go ahead, Chloe. Before I get to that, Chloe, how you like the last episode since you weren't here?
The last episode was dope. The first episode was dope because I was like, oh, okay, because I was kind of like, to have a show start after the Game of Thrones with that much clout behind it, even though it ended crappy, or it could have ended better. I was like looking for that same feeling. I guess my expectations were kind of low because I was like, there's no way they can like match the same feeling from actual Game of Thrones. So the first episode, when they started, I was like, oh, okay. I'm getting the same feeling that I had when I was watching Game of Thrones. It's about to go down.
Okay. And now this episode, the first scene was about.
Okay, so this episode, the first scene. This episode was kind of blah for me. It was like it was very boring for me. Okay. When I think of Game of Thrones, I'm thinking of like people head getting chopped off, people pushing people out of windows, death, violence, sex, all of the above. And this was just it was another setup episode, and I thought it was going to go down this episode, and nothing really happened. It was just like another setup episode. Like I was ready for the action. Like one thing I loved about Game of Thrones was they got busy early. Like it wasn't no waiting. It wasn't all this, set it up. It was like, oh snap, that person died already. Like I love that person and they gone. Like I feel like we haven't gotten that yet.
First of all, let me back you up. I think you feel that way because you binge watched it and you didn't watch it weekly. So it seemed like it was constant action.
Let's think about the very first episode of Game of Thrones. They pushed the little boy out the window.
Okay, but then what happened? It was no action after that until Ned died in episode 9. 9 episodes later.
Nah, there was action though, because it was suspense. It was like, oh my gosh, is the boy alive? Is he dead? Like it was a suspense factor. I don't feel any suspense at all. Okay. I kind of feel like I know where this is going. Like, and I don't want to know where it's going. I like the fact of Game of Thrones, you did not know what was going to happen. This one, it seems like it's going to be predictable. I'm hoping it's not going to be predictable, but so far it seems very predictable. Like from the first episode, I knew that this was going to happen this episode, if that makes sense.
Okay, I could see that a little bit. All right, let me talk about Raynera a little bit. So she is speaking up inside the council room, and then Otto, his hating ass, asked the king to something else she could do. So they let her go pick out the king's knight. And of course, she winds up picking the guy she kind of crushing on, which is Sir Criston Cole. But her reasoning is sound because she says because he's the only one that's been in battle. out of all of the knights. So I think Josh kind of frozen there. What you feel about that? Her picking him?
Oh, I respected that. That was a smart choice. Number one, I think she didn't she give him something before?
Her favor, yeah. When he won
her favor, right,
yeah.
right. And he whooped her people's ass. So with that being said, yeah, that was the smartest thing to do, was to do that and get that done by picking him. And I don't know why they was hating. Why was they hating that she picked him?
Because he's from a lower house. So the way Otto looking at it is like, okay, the other houses may not be as good at knights, but they can, do stuff for us because they have, more favor. They got more. They're from a higher household. She looking at, look, I just somebody who's gonna protect me and my dad. I don't give a damn about all that. Or whatever
yeah,
like
fuck
that.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me the nitty gritty.
What you feeling about her, Chloe, and that choice, and also Chloe, her and and them telling her to leave out of the council room and making her go choose the night. We can't hear you.
Okay, there we go. You can hear me now?
Yep.
So I thought that was predictable. Like, obviously, no one was going to let her really. She kind of stepped on her father's toes. Like, I felt like that was disrespectful. Like, yeah, you're the next in line, but you're not the king. And to say something to him in a room full of his subordinates was like, I don't know.
Oh, all right, yeah, that was.
So he did the nice thing of saying, yo, you need to go do something else. And the guy, that could have went several ways. Like, that was disrespectful. Number one. And number two, I think that it showed that she does have some type of knowledge to her, right? So she was able to flex a little bit, but that wasn't her time to flex. Like, she should have waited to flex. So they put her right back in her place.
Okay, all right. Speaking of her flexing, next scene, one of my favorites in the whole episode, we got Raynera and Rhaenys, and we see that. Oh, that's not next. I'm sorry. That's later on down the line. The next scene is actually I'm watching it now. Is Otto and his daughter, and then she goes to see the king again, and then he's I guess I don't know if it's flirting or not, but they're talking, and then he gives her his dragon, what she drops and it breaks, and she winds up fixing it for him later on, stuff like that. And hold on one second, let me get my man Josh back in here, and then but he also tells her at this moment, whatever happens in this room, don't tell Raynera what's happening because she wouldn't understand. So at this point, I'm actually cool. How you feeling about the king and Allison and their little back and forth?
First of all, you can't trust these hoes. Can't trust them. You can't trust them, right? And it was just a parallel to real life because most women have been in a situation where they have a friend and a friend is plotting the whole time because she's jealous. She was jealous of her in the first episode because she's like, you have all this stuff and you're not even taking it seriously and blah, blah, blah. So she was envious to her, but usually when people are envious of you, they try to get super, super duper close, right? And so she became her friend and she put her in a vulnerable space where she was able to sneak in there and steal her father.
Okay.
Like, if they were real friends, she would have kept it real with her. Like, yo, my dad's telling me to go do this. This is the plan. You know what I mean? I don't really want to, but we'll be sister. I'll be your mother's sister type of thing. She would have let her in on it. Even if I guess she couldn't betray the king, but she could have did that before
that happened. Right.
Before he told her not to, she could have, gave her the heads up. She was schooling her on everything else, but she didn't school her on that. So it's kind of like, I think that was her first lesson. And you got to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Like, and you can't trust anybody. It's the Game of Thrones, and they are after the throne. And you on the throne. So I think that was a nice little lesson for her to learn early and quick in the game.
Yeah, what I did miss was it was a 6 months time jump from the first episode to the second episode. So she had been going to see the king all that time as well. So, yeah, but Josh, you missed out. I want to ask you how you felt about Raynera picking Sir Kristen instead of the other knights, and also how you feel about the whole Allison and the king there.
Absolutely. And, Jazz and I talked about this in the shop. It was the logical decision. I mean, he's the only one who had actual experience. And, a Targaryen, you're not worried about the rest of the realm. You worrying about your family and your bloodline. So I need someone with actual practical experience to guard the king. Usually, typically, the best warrior in the kingdom is guarding the king. Typically,
Right.
in these type of feudal medieval times. So that's like having Achilles being your personal bodyguard type of thing. You know what I mean? So that's how I was viewing it. And then the relationship between Allison and the king, sure, she has to be loyal to her friend, right? But at the end of the day, even your friend knows that's the king. So if the king can't even trust your best friend, who can he actually trust? You just reprimanded, and rightfully so, people for not choosing the right candidate for the position. So if you're not going to be able to be loyal and truly loyal and have that level of intimacy, who else? Again, to close point, I understand how some ladies might feel that way in the moment, but who else better in the kingdom to be with your father than your best friend, who's actually putting you on game?
Well, see, and I agree with that, but the point is she was being sneaky.
But again, she
should have been like.
I understand that, Chloe. But this is feudalism. So your allegiance to the crown is literally life and death. So all this, you my homegirl? Nah, I'm loyal to the king first. Just like how Okoye was with Wakanda. Nah, I'm loyal to Wakanda first.
But I think Chloe saying when she first started doing it, before she got close to the king, she could have said something to her, which I agree with that. You know what I mean? Like in the first.
He wasn't going to chop her head off for saying something early. Like,
it's been 6 months now. Like, it's crazy. And the thing is that. And the thing is that she's. And then we see him hanging out again with the candle. So she's still hanging out with her on a regular basis and shit like that. And, and talking to her. So she's still kind of like playing both sides. I guess kind of like, you kind of like dating my dad, but you're hanging out with me and shit like that. I think that's a little.
But the dad did tell her to get close to him. Her.
Otto started that. He definitely did. But
no. The king. Remember the king?
Oh, yeah. So maybe he could get her open up to me. Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. And he did. How you feeling about that whole thing with Allison and Raynera and the king?
Man, listen, I felt like I already said something about that for the first time. I was like, he's not going to pick the what's his name?
We didn't get there yet. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, I'll hold that thought. We're about to get there now. So the next scene, we see Corlys is his name, right? Corlys and Rhaenys talking to Viserys, and this is Viserys. This the part. This is the Viserys. He's trying to be a good king. So he's like, I'm sorry how I came at you inside the room. You know what I mean? But I just gotta like make sure that we're doing things the right way. This is weakness to me, Josh. But and then Corlys and Rhaenys like, look, we get it. It's cool. That's what we can do, though, right? Why don't you marry our daughter, bring our houses together, then she could bring you a son, and you'll have a proper heir, and everything will be good. And they feel like that'll be the best thing to do. And they also already feel like they've been passed over. First, she got passed over for the crown twice. Now Corlys feeling like every time he not getting his words are not being heeded. So that was his suggestion. So I'll just take it from there. Like he did offer up his daughter at the time. So go ahead. What you thought about that?
Yeah, I thought that was nutty a little bit. Like, damn, he offered up his daughter, damn, just like that. But I see he's all about power moves. He's playing chess. So at the end of the day, I thought it was smart because that's part of their bloodline. And don't them kids got white hair too, right? Or is it blonde?
All three of them.
Yeah, all three of them got white hair. So I thought that was gonna be a power play, but when I seen her, I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're tripping. Tripping.
All right. Chloe, let me hear about you.
As a man.
Go ahead. As a man, what? No,
I'm just saying, as a man, as a king, you would know who he's gonna pick anyway, because as a man, he's gonna need things being in that room with that diorama. And that little girl ain't doing it.
Chloe, how you feeling about the king and his wife and their power play, as he said, offering up the daughter to marry not the king, I'm sorry, Corlys and his wife offer to marry the king?
I think that was the smartest decision they could have done. And honestly, I think the king was stupid and selfish I think he was dumb. He was dumb for being selfish and self-centered and not thinking about the kingdom. So, like, in one token, he's telling everyone, like, "Oh, we need to do this for the kingdom. I need to get a new wife for the kingdom." And you make the worst decision ever for the kingdom. Like, the best decision would have been to pick that little girl, get your little concubine, wait till she comes of age, get her pregnant, and keep it moving. Because he can't get her pregnant until she's physically able to get pregnant anyway.
Right.
And let's be real, if this was real Game of Thrones, what they would have did was make him marry his daughter. Because that's what the Targaryens do. So
Right.
I was a little confused, and I'm like, oh, they a little soft this season, because in real life, in this Game of Thrones land,
and we'll rest the roast, get him close.
You feel me? In the real world, he would have been with his daughter, and that would have been the smartest move.
Right.
Because he would have kept the bloodline pure. His daughter probably would have gave him a son, and they all could have ruled together. But he wants to go with the hand of the king's daughter. First of all, is he even royalty? Like, I'm just so confused. Like, why would
you know why? I was trying to tell you know why, because he got needs.
Because he liked her, because he was selfish. Like, bro, because she gave you a little dragon. Like, that's all it takes. Like, all it takes to marry the king and have heirs. Like, come on now. Come on.
First of all, Chloe, Otto was smart. She told him to go there when he was vulnerable after his wife died. And she became that shoulder to cry on, so to speak. I think that's how the king got close to her and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but no, to answer your question, Otto, the Hightowers aren't royalty. I mean, they're highborn, but they're not royalty, though. So
exactly,
they're not as high as the Valerians at all. No, so
right.
I agree with that.
Secondly, that's why he's a bad king. Like his brother said, you're not even doing kingly stuff. You're doing stuff like a regular dude.
Well,
you're not riding the dragon. You're not getting the wife that's royalty. You messing up the bloodline. You banishing your brother. He's just doing everything that's going to lead to the death of all the dragons. Like, this is literally the moment where, you know, that meme where it'd be like, and this is when so and so.
Right.
Which is
I mean, honestly, Chloe, you're correct. This story, this whole series is the death of the Targaryens. And each and every choice they made is how the Targaryens started to go downhill. And this is one of them, a big one, as you said before.
Huge one for no reason.
Huge.
Josh, how you feeling about the Corliss's play, though, at first, anyway, and his wife?
I agree that it's the most obvious play. And this was during those times, so that was completely normal, right? Sometimes they would get promised off earlier, this FYI. So to me, this was very tame, similar to the birthing scene, which triggered a lot of people, and we understand. But in terms of this time period where it's supposed to represent medieval culture, to me, it made the most sense. We understand that Corlys is incredibly ambitious. However, he has his head on correctly. He just have the biggest navy at a chance. He built the biggest fleet because he understands how sausage is made in the kingdom, specifically in a Targaryen kingdom, as Chloe was alluding to. However, this is the kind of the theme that that this episode really cemented for me, is that Viserys wants to be the king who is liked, which is the weakness, right? But at the same time, what gives you strength is being a Targaryen. But he's trying to be a king who isn't a Targaryen, who just happens to be a Targaryen, which I understand, because you can't always rule with force, because eventually you'll have mutiny. Eventually.
Well, I agree, Josh, with that. He wants to be the king. He wants to have peace, but you can't always have peace. So then we see that actually he brings the information to Otto and to the other mason. They agree you should marry his daughter, stuff like that. So they actually all agree that it's the best play for the kingdom. Then once he takes a walk with the little girl and stuff like that, I guess because she is young, starts to have second thoughts, especially when she said, "My mother said I don't have the bedroom until I'm 14." So he started to have second thoughts there. But then we see my favorite scene, which is Rhaenys and Raynera having this conversation, and Raynera asks her, "Are you okay with this?" And Rhaenys understands. She said, "Not really, but I know what's right for the kingdom," stuff like that. And then they go back and forth, and Rhaenys tried to tell her, "Listen, I know you the heir, but they ain't gonna never let you be queen." I know because it happened to me. And then Raynera says, listen, that's because it's you. I ain't you, basically. And they have a little back and forth. So let me go to Josh first time. How you feeling about that scene with Rhaenys and Raynera? That back and forth and stuff.
By the way, Jazz absolutely loved this scene. It's probably one of his favorite scenes in the episode.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
This was awesome because it reminded me what would happen if Lady Tyrell were to mentor Khaleesi. And we never got to see that. Someone with such wisdom and knows how to play chess on the kingdom chessboard. So I thought that was a fantastic scene. Two great personalities, and the queen who could have been queen, right? Queen who never was.
Yeah,
you can see how she would have also been similar to Raynera. So I feel like some people going to have to put a little bit more respect on the queen who never was his name, because she had similar qualities. And she had that personality, which gave the space for Raynera to do what Raynera is about to do.
She crawls, she can walk. Just what you're saying. Let me ask, how you feeling about these two women and their back and forth and their banter in this one?
I think that it's vaguely familiar, right? And I feel like men do this too, where you got some young whippersnapper and you're older dude, and you're like, "Yo, man, like this is how you do things," and he like, "Man, it ain't work for you, but that's you." It just shows like the fearlessness that young people have before the world tears them down and crushes all their dreams.
The hubris, absolutely.
Yes. So I feel like, as a mentor, I would say from an educator standpoint, you're not supposed to you should refrain, or you should not ever say to a child what they can't do. Like, you should never place your limits on someone else. Now, there are ways to warn people about things. And I feel like if she was really in a mentoring mood or a space, she could have broached that subject a little better. But you could tell by the way that conversation went, she was kind of flexing, like, "Oh, you think you hot stuff? I'll see, because you're just like me. You're not gonna make it anywhere." And she's like, and I love what's the girl, Raynera?
Yeah, Raynera, yeah.
And she's like, "Man, that's because it's you." And it kind of humbles her a little bit too, because it's like, yo, maybe you didn't just lose because you're a woman. Maybe you lost because you just weren't fit for the job. Yeah. In addition to the fact that you're a woman. So it's kind of like, it kind of questioned her, I guess, faith in herself too. So I think that was a dope scene.
Hey, how you feeling about them back and forth with each other, bro?
Simple, man. They both, they're both strong. I can see they're both strong. They both got like a strong soul, like an aura with them. But my only problem is the young one should have listened a little bit more to the older one, because
thank you.
It's all about experience, man. And if you want to make it out there, that's what you got. You got to pay attention, especially to your OGs.
Thank you, E. And that's exactly what She-Hulk did.
Right.
Put some respect on her name.
I thought it was great for both of them. I'm with Chloe. I think that it showed that Rhaenys had to play with, and why she was, even up for being the queen, and it showed Raynera got a little spunk in her too. So I thought it was a great scene. I thought
it's the bloodline. It's the bloodline.
Yeah, I think they both made great points, But I think Rhaenys was really, really trying to let her know, listen, I hear you, but they're not gonna let you be queen, to try and warn her and stuff like that.
But then what was the point of saying that? What's she gonna say? Like, what did she expect her to say to that? Okay, I'm just gonna go sit in the corner, like what you say that to somebody, what do you expect them to respond? Like, how do you even respond to that? If somebody's telling you not gonna be Michael Jordan and you outside dunking, like, what you mean I'm not gonna be Michael Jordan? I don't need to be Michael Jordan, I'm me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's in a different tone though. It was more like they are not gonna let you.
And she like I'm gonna burn them with my dragon.
It's not I'm not gonna let you, or
right.
I'm hating because they ain't let me do it. I know for a fact the reason they ain't let me do it.
Exactly.
They're not gonna let you do it.
And at the same time, I agree, because she was able to essentially test to see if she's ready to be queen.
Right.
That's how I viewed it, because if you're viewing it as a mentor, you got to be like, you got to gauge to see where this kid's confidence is. Is it going to be a Kobe Bryant level right out of high school, or are you going to be maybe like a six man? That's the best you can do. You got to figure that out. And having these conversations, that's demonstrating that. And she's coming to the bargaining table, playing her role for the kingdom, even though she lost. That's how I'm doing.
Oh wait, y'all forgot one thing too. She had already been named heir when they had this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So she looking at her like, I am the heir. Like, you couldn't even be the heir. They didn't even name you the heir. I've already surpassed where you've been. Like, how you gonna tell me I can't do something and I'm already here and I'm 16?
She's good. 16. I agree with both. That's why I say I agree with both parties. I agree with Raynera. I like that Rhaenys got a short personality because I don't think they really showed it for the first episode. I think Rhaenys was coming from a place of both. I think Chloe, a little hating and warning her. I think it was a little hating, stuff like that.
Definitely was a little touch. It was like, oh, where you think you going with that outfit on? Like, it was one of those.
That's definitely facts, but at the same time, I would have to say the only difference is that your dad made that decision. That's the only difference. So if her dad made that decision, we in the same conversation.
Right.
That's how I'm seeing it. So it's kind of like it's if ad hoc, right? So if this, then that. That's a fallacy. To me, that's how I'm seeing it.
But her dad also gave her that whole speech too. Remember?
Yeah, he did. He ran there a speech about the heir.
But that's only because he wanted to spite Damon. And we'll get into that.
Right, because in this episode, and that's why Rhaenys said that. She said, but what you doing? Pouring cups. You ain't doing shit, you the heir, but all you doing is pouring drinks. So I think that was Rhaenys saying, like, if you really was the heir, they'll have you in on the council meetings, letting you learn. But instead, all you doing is pouring drinks and shit like that. Last 6 months. I know. It was a good back and forth, like I said. Next, though, we got the king back hanging out with Allison, and then Otto comes in and says we got to call a special council meeting, and because they got a letter from Damon who done stole the dragon egg and say that his chick is pregnant and he giving her the egg, and he hanging out on Dragonstone and he done took over in the first place, and then King get mad as hell and say I'm going. Otto say nah, you can't go, stuff like that. I'll take care of it. So y'all talk about that scene real quick before we move on. What do you think about that?
Of course, Damon being Damon, right? He's being antagonistic to the king, right? And just being a provocateur. And the king takes the bait because it's something he simply cannot ignore, especially with others in the room hearing the information. People already think you're weak. If you don't do this, we're about to call you the pushover king now.
Right.
So to me, it was but at the same time, he let his he let Otto go. at the same time, like you wasn't gonna go ride the dragon, which is probably what Damon wanted you to do. Oh nah, you gonna take a dragon egg? I'm gonna go ride the dragon. But nah, he sent his underling.
Let me go to Chloe. Chloe, how you feeling about that Damon's, I guess, what he did and the king's response at that time?
He a little brother and he mad. So like, I feel like that's what little brothers do. Number one, he did that for attention because he probably went to talk to his brother and he wanted to, pout and throw a temper tantrum. Number two, the hand of the king, as true Game of Thrones nature, is manipulative. Because he let me go so you could stay here with my daughter.
Right.
And I'm gonna go handle this for you. So and then he was talking crap. So he was instigating when he got there. Like, oh, your brother wouldn't even come here, blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, you're putting your 2 cents in where it's not needed. Like, you're causing a greater divide. And I think he did that intentionally because he wants to antagonize what's his name? Aegon? Not Aegon. Viserys.
Yeah.
I need to write these names down.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot. That's what gets me the name.
Yeah. So let me ask you about
that guy.
Which one?
The guy that's close to the king. whose daughter
Otto.
is the girl.
The hand.
Yeah,
Otto?
I don't
No,
like.
Otto.
I do not like Otto, man.
Yeah, it's
He be
Otto
reaching
Hightower.
for some of the shit he be on, and it's like, damn, yo, like. But you know what I did like? He looked like a sucker. Wait, are we there yet?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you about that. Yeah, hold that thought. Hold that thought. How you felt about when they got to Dragonstone and they on both sides and they got this little back and forth. Swords come out, dragon come out, and stuff like that. And then Raynera comes, obviously. How you felt about that whole scene?
Man, I love that shit, man. Because some was looking, the dude I don't like, he looked like a smooth sucker on that bridge. Straight up, my boy. Like, see, I'm starting to like that brother because the brother was like
Damon.
flexing. Yeah, he was flexing with it. Like, yeah, I got the egg. Yeah, I took over. Yeah, and I'm taking over. And my girl pregnant. What's up?
Yeah, someone not in the bloodline as well. Like, come on.
Yeah, right. And I'm the blood. Right. Thank you. Like, make it make sense, man.
You know what got me? Crazy. It's almost like Otto forgot that he got a dragon. He was talking mad shit. That dragon
right,
he said, all right, put your swords down. Put your swords down.
Yeah, hell yeah. That, like, you forgot about the dragon, bro? Cook your ass.
But Josh, how you feeling about the standoff on Dragonstone there?
This is probably my favorite scene in the entire show. And of course, we're gonna get to why it gets better. But right here, it's just like you know, Damon's the kid with the magnifying glass shining in on the ants, right? Mm-hmm. And then because I understand all you all are pawns, because at the end of the day, I am a Targaryen. I'm the brother of the king. So what are you gonna do, really? Really? Does the king really ride for you like he would ride for me? Probably not. So this is why he sent you potentially to your death at the end of the day. So that I just love that Damon is being Damon. So he's a wonderful character to have on a show like this.
Chloe, how you feeling about that? And also on Raynera coming to, I guess, save the day. Chloe, how you feeling about this whole scene?
I feel like I love the scene. Number one, it's good to see the dragons, right? I like the dragons. Other than that, it just highlights their relationship, like uncle and niece, and it's kind of like an unspoken love thing going on between them. I don't know if it's romantic love yet or if it's just like a paternal love, because she wasn't close with her dad. I think he's the character that is the most interesting so far, because everybody else kind of boring at this point. Hopefully the crab guy gets better, but everyone's kind of like that.
Shit, the crab guy crazy.
Yeah, the crab. Yeah, I need some.
Just because you make your lobster in the house, don't make it over the crab guy. What that?
And crab. We had crab this week too. So
okay, my fault.
Yeah, but that scene was. I think that scene made the episode. Honestly, like I didn't expect that to happen, so that was a nice surprise. And I like how she was able to flex her status. Like she was doing some queen stuff. She picked the right hand. What is it? The knight guy, right? Mm-hmm. She flew in there and prevented bloodshed because it was about to go down. Mm-hmm. Which in turn, she probably should have just let him burn him up. Honestly, she should have just minded her business, let him burn up the hand of the king, because then he wouldn't have married. Maybe he would have still married her daughter. I don't know. I think it would have changed things.
I like that she was able to talk Damon down. He gave the egg back. I like that.
I thought that was fire too.
I like when she flew in there. I like how when she flew in there and started walking, they all walked to the side so she can go through and shit like that. I thought that was pretty dope too. I did like how Otto was talking shit though. Like, he was, but it was the wrong move and shit at that time. But that old girl, she was kind of mad at Damon. Like, don't put me in your shit or whatever like that. So, we see her back at the inside Dragonstone with Damon, like, yo, listen, you a Targaryen, you all the shit. Don't put me in there because I ain't gonna die fucking with you, basically. So, and she's saying, I came with you, but not to be. I don't want to be married. I don't want no kids or whatever like that. So let me ask Josh, how you felt about Mysaria and her talking to Damon there?
Absolutely, living up to her name, right? Causing misery, for crying out loud. I mean, of course, she wants to have her cake and eat it too. Like, oh yeah, I'll parade and do all this, but when it actually comes down to the responsibility, it's like, oh, I ain't trying to be involved in this. And that's when you understand that, of course, it's just a pawn to Daemon. He doesn't take her seriously. I mean, think about all the people that he respects in the kingdom, and in an instant, he would Dracarys all of them in a second. So they are, for him, both genetically and in terms of status, beneath him. So they are literally all pawns, which was the point that I saw from Daemon's objective in a very Joker-like way. So he as soon as Raynera came off the dragon and saved everyone, and she, of course, she stood up to him in a great badass way, but that's exactly what he was looking for. Like, okay, this is the next chess move. Okay, here's the dragon egg. I'm gonna go back to the drawing board to
right.
see what buttons I can push now. So, okay, this button, this causes this. This button, this causes that. He's figuring out the kingdom. He's figuring out the chain of command. And I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. And also, I skipped over the fact that they said he snuck in there and got the egg and they didn't even see him sneak in there and get it and walk out, stuff like that. So
he was sitting on the throne.
Well, okay, guys. Hold on.
Too.
Yeah, exactly. But let's be honest. There's only 2 dragon tamers, and there's a reason we see them every single episode so far. Yeah. They both speak High Valyrian. Mm-hmm. So if Daemon was like, "Hey, I'm going to go get a dragon egg," what are they going to say? Oh, wait, no, we're going to tell somebody. He probably had his dragon with him. Like,
probably
what
did.
What do you want to do?
They made it seem like he snuck in there on him. I'm just saying, but they probably did.
I think that's the cover story to someone's covering their ass, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, he did sneak in the first. He's stealthy because in the first episode, remember they were like, "Oh, he didn't get here yet," and he was already sitting on the throne. The only person who pays attention to him is his niece, but she loves him.
I mean, she's not wrong, but Chloe. Any thoughts on Daemon's, I guess, girlfriend and her and what she said to Daemon after that stuff?
I think that he actually loved her because she was the only person speaking life into him. Because every time something bad would happen, he'd go to the whorehouse and then she would speak life into him. So I think when they got back in that room and she was like, "Hold up, I don't know what you think this is. I can't even have kids. I got that taken care of a long time ago." It kind of bursted the fantasy bubble that he created in his head about her. And then he did. I really think that because think about it, the last episode, he was basically crying to her.
Yeah.
Like you don't just be crying like a man. I wouldn't think a man would just be crying to some random whore that he didn't love. And then to have her come out and like move her to a castle and claim that he got her pregnant, all this stuff, he was living in a fantasy world. And so she burst that bubble real quick because she doesn't live in a fantasy world. She doesn't have the luxury of fantasy. She's like, "Nah, bro, I can't even bear any children. I got that taken care of years ago when I first came of age. So no, I can't give you any heirs. And you're about to get me killed."
Yeah. I completely understand that. And I see what you're saying. I guess for me, the way I'm viewing Daemon right now, that just let him know what chess moves he couldn't make. Because he would be willing to risk it all to impregnate her to make a point just to fuck with his brother.
But he can't though.
Right. But now he can't. So that's something he can't do. But that's why I said back to the drawing board.
Well, yeah, and now
she's gonna cook up something else.
She's a pawn now. She should have never said that. If she was smart,
she said that.
Kept her mouth shut. She should have been like, "Okay, babe, we can try until forever."
Right.
Said nothing.
And this is what happened when ladies get comfortable.
Listen,
she did get a little. She did make herself a little. What's the word I'm looking for?
Disposable.
Disposable. Yeah, exactly.
You are now a damn pawn.
Yeah, because now she can't. You can't give me no kids. You already a whore. What can I do with you? Shit like that.
Right.
And you just told me off.
Yeah, you're not from a high-born house, so I can't get nothing from you. So what can I actually do with you?
Right, you went
and she's right. Like the king and them won't hesitate to kill her ass if they wanted to, because she just hoarded them, shit like that. So
right. So it sounds like her confidence was based upon his status.
basically.
Right.
Let me go to the next scene though. So we get Viserys, while everybody going to Dragonstone, he decided to go talk to one of the other people inside the council about the whole thing about Corlys and marrying his daughter. Another one who said you should marry her. It's a good marriage. You'll be able to join your houses. You know, he's like, yo, the sea snake or appreciate it. But if you don't do it, he gonna not take this very kindly. And then the dude is like, yo, why won't you want to marry his daughter? And now the king is like, well, she's 12. So now he has like moral compass at this time or whatever like that. But even though they're trying to get it. So Josh, what do you think about this back and forth in the king's all of a sudden moral compass at this particular time?
Well, I think the moral compass is kind of like when we want to do something and then we rationalize it with logic. So the genius in a Mercedes-Benz commercial, everyone knows that they emotionally, if they could, they would totally get a Mercedes. If it was nothing, they'd totally get a Mercedes. And in the Mercedes commercials, they give you all the facts of why you would want a Mercedes. It's a wonderful car. It has good gas mileage. It has 4-wheel drive. Right? But really, you just want it because it's a Mercedes. So in this scene, as he said, it was very obvious that he was enamored strategically with Allison Hightower, as we all saw, and she's of age, right? So in terms of logistics, you can actually consummate the marriage on the wedding night. You can't do that with Corley's daughter. So
yeah, right. So you say he rationalized why not to marry Corley's daughter
because he already made up his mind. Yes.
Gotcha. Chloe, what you thinking about that? Him in that scene.
Yeah, he did what a king want to do, and that's gonna cause him his whole family dying. Like that's all I'm gonna say. Like he was thinking with the other head. He should have been thinking with the crown.
You know what he pulled? He pulled a Robb Stark. Instead of thinking seriously, Robb was supposed to marry that other chick for the strategic, war, and he married the one, who was the other girl, stuff like that. And you see what happened to him. So he pulled the Robb Stark to me.
No, Jazz literally brought that up today.
Did he?
Even worse than a Robb Stark.
Jazz is right though.
You got dragons, and they about to all die. Like that's the irony of this. We all know what happens, so this is just like, oh, dang. That's
well,
how
I think when he tells Raynera last week that when these White Walkers come, we're gonna need all these dragons to defeat them, and then you see how they lost them all, and y'all didn't have them when y'all needed them. Now it's like, damn, that shit all it's like crazy. So,
it did happen when you needed them.
They only had 3. They should have had 20. They would have killed the whole army if this never happened with the Targaryens.
Wouldn't have been 8 seasons, Mike.
I know.
I mean, that might have been a good thing, though, right?
That's true. It wouldn't even been White Walker would have been like running away if they would have had all the dragons they had before.
But didn't the White Walker have a dragon?
Yeah,
he stole the dragon.
Who?
Yeah.
All right, so let's just say if we use the number now, 10 dragons and possibly more, as Miguel said in the book. So let's just say conservatively, they had 15 dragons by the time that the Night King came down. The Night King would at least got 5, and those would be 5 undead dragons. So it would have still made it interesting, but it would have still been the same result, just on a bigger scale. That's all.
Okay. Well, King finds out that she did go to Dragonstone, Raynera, and he's pissed about it. Comes to her in the room, I guess, to initially scold her, but then calms down and says, you kind of, remind me of your mother. And they finally had this moment to grieve her mother. She's like, I'm happy to hear this. I thought I was the only one grieving and stuff like that. And then he also lets her know, like, I know how you feel, but I got to remarry. So I think at this point, I'm thinking the princess was cool with him remarrying if it was for the kingdom at that time, because she didn't know. How you looked at it, though, Josh, in that scene with him and Raynera?
Yeah, because at the moment, Raynera feels like she's on an island, like she's the only one in the kingdom mourning for her mother.
Right. They say how long dragons live. I'm not clear. It was 200 years. The answer.
Thousands till they get shot down by a White Walker.
They live 200 years. Like
yeah, I don't know about thousands. So.
It's 200 years.
Yeah, it was about 200 years. Yeah.
Who counting? Is there a person that lived that long to say they was around for 200 years?
The dragon, the one that they see the the skull, Balon the Dread, he died about 200 years after they conquered Westeros. After he was born,
and the maesters should be able to measure that as well.
Yeah,
do they count the rings like in a tree or something?
Go ahead, Josh. Answer your question.
Now I forget the question. What's the question, Mike?
Damn.
In the room.
Viserys and Raynera. How you try to scold her for going to Dragonstone and then let her know that he got to take a wife at the time.
Yeah, it actually did remind me of She-Hulk. It was kind of like when Bruce was like, "Hey, I don't think you should go here, but you already made up your mind anyway." So of course there's going to be like the let's say overcompensating parenting to be like, "Hey, you shouldn't have done that. No, it was dangerous. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Not tell me." But I already did it. So why you worried about it now for?
Raynera is pissed because Allison was her girl and didn't mention that she had visited her dad in the chambers. That's what Cole said. That's true.
Again, fidelity to the kingdom. The kingdom comes first in this situation.
I think that Raynera, she was talking about riding them dragons at the first episode, so she was gonna go regardless. So I don't think they can put a leash on her with her riding her dragons. But Chloe, what are you thinking about the king and her conversation?
So at this point is when it would have been an appropriate time for her father to tell her that he's going to marry her best friend, not in front of everybody. So that to me was a shocker that he didn't say anything then. So you knew he wasn't doing the right thing. Because if he thought he was doing the right thing and you talking about, I literally thought that that's when he was going to say it like, hey, I have to remarry. The best person I could remarry would be your friend because blah, blah, blah. And then I think that would have been an easier way to find out than in front of everybody.
King Jaehaerys was the GOAT. Yeah, he was pretty good. And then she said she sunned Otto to his face. She did on the bridge. She definitely did. And E, how you feeling about him and her and their conversations and him kind of scolding her for going to Dragonstone? E?
Yeah, I agree with Chloe on him having this should have said something to her about messing with her friend. I like to see their bond between mourning over the mom. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the king, I just don't like him no more. At first I thought he was all right, but now that I see that he thinking with the wrong head and he just doing stupid shit, like I don't like him no more, man. He don't even deserve it.
He's a weak king. I mean,
he's
sorry
a weak
to say
ass, right? Yeah, he's weak. That's why that throne cutting his ass up.
Yeah, that too. And we skipped over that. He got to get the maggot to shit on his fingers and shit like that.
Right.
Yeah.
As soon as you look, weirdo.
Yeah. E called him a ban.
And she says not only that she spent time with Allison bonding over their dead mom, she's so she double betrayed her best friend and her dad. Right. She doubled down and shit. That's what I said. She was dating her dad and still hanging out with her on a regular basis and shit like that. Like that's the fucked up part.
And having intimate conversations with her.
Right, and bonding and shit like that.
Well, but here's the thing for Allison's defense, right? If you're able to compartmentalize, you got to be there and completely be there for your best friend, and you got to be there and totally be there for the king.
That sounds like somebody's excuse. Like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm dating your husband and we're best friends. Like, what? That's like the same excuse, compartmentalizing.
I mean, but again, it's not a requirement to tell you.
If that's her friend, they didn't have to be friends.
Again, it's not a requirement because the duty's to the king first.
So if that was your friend, you'd be pissed, Chloe, dating your dad behind your back.
First of all, we're not friends. That means we're not friends. Like she could have just been a girl around. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like you don't have to be my best friend and then do this to me. Like I just feel like that betrayal is going to show it's going to rear its ugly head when she needs it the most. And
spoiler alert,
I can't
Mike.
wait. No, don't tell me, Mike. Mike be on it. But I can see it coming. It's gonna be some. She gonna get her get back. That's a revenge moment. That's like I'm writing you down in my book of names. Like it's going down.
Yeah, because the next scene we do see, not only is Raynera shocked, but Corlys is pissed. He mad as hell. Like, you know what I mean? I think we saw the black come out of Corliss. I was like, he was mad as hell when he picked Allison. Allison acting like she's shocked, and Otto happy as hell. He can't hold his smile back. So there was a lot of facial expressions. Without words in that scene. So, Josh, how was you looking at that scene when you picked Allison?
You know what, Mike? As you said that, I had a Dave moment, right? So if this person was actually a white male, his response might have been like, "Oh, you're just entitled," type of thing. But the fact that he was black, like you can actually feel like the level of like, damn, bro, why you do that to me?
Yeah.
Like what the fuck did I like? What did I do? I'm being loyal to the crown, and this how I'm being rewarded? Really? Like I was like, all right, that makes sense.
Probably is it because he's black?
Citizen Jane says, I got a problem with Corliss sending that baby to the king, but that was the time that it was. That's true, Jane. It was the time that it was, but it did look crazy on screen how small she was. I will say that.
Right. And
I
I'm
think
telling you,
that was
if
the
she
point,
was older. If she was older, the king would have been. He would have been.
Thank you, E. Because if she was Allison's age,
Targaryen.
Let's keep it in the family. Hey.
I think he should have sent the daughter with him. Like it should have been a conversation without the kid there. Like, yo, here, you're marrying my daughter. You don't need to meet her till she's 14. Like, what was the whole point of her talking to him? Like, I think that was a little extra because think about it. When in cultures where there's arranged marriages, they don't meet each other until the wedding day sometimes.
I mean, I think because if they she would still have to like sleep in a room with him, even though he can't have sex with her.
No, she don't have to sleep in a room with him.
Hold on, guys, because you guys all made brilliant points. Because it's all about the timing here, right? Because it's that those are the logistics. Because everyone's expecting a quick decision. And because that was a long-term option, which was the best option, instant gratification, hence Allison.
Well, also, to your point, the only reason why it was good for him to pick Allison is because he might not make it till she's 14. He might die tomorrow.
That's my point.
That's the only reason. The only.
Hence the urgency. Yes.
That was the urgency.
My question is this: could he have married his wife, like his Otto's wife?
Otto's wife's dead.
No, not Otto. No, the black dude. What's his name? Corliss?
Oh, no, because she already married to Corliss.
Well, could they was there a divorce thing back then?
I mean, she could have technically, but then how would that help you? You would lose Corliss and his whole fleet. Remember, he got half the ships in the whole Westeros.
True.
So remember, she's Targaryen, but the Valerians, Corliss family, is the richest family in all of Westeros at this time. They even got more money than the Lannisters had. So they can't.
The fleet. They have more money than. So he gave up the bag.
Yes.
For the poor hand's daughter.
Yes, he did. He gave the bag. He took a chance on losing the fleet because that's the lord of the ships and stuff like that to go with the hand's daughter.
And started the war.
I mean, it's the war. It ain't started the war. Not yet.
And to me, that's exactly right. To me, this is why he made the decision for Allison. Because what's the point in being the king if you can't make these decisions? And you don't have that much time left. You just name your successor.
She says Corliss would have given her up, meaning his wife, if it would benefit him. Maybe so. But I don't think. I think. Well, you'll see. Corliss love him some Rhaenys, but so he does. He does. He love that white woman. I'm sorry to say it, but he definitely does. Yeah, but it's a lot more. I can't wait to close season. What's gonna happen soon. But so speaking of Corliss, he's pissed though. So he goes to holler at our man Daemon. Yeah. And this is that. Well, he ain't going nowhere. I'm sorry. He went home. He had Daemon come to him actually because they were at his house in Driftmark, and he sent for Daemon. Daemon come through, talking to him. He say, "Listen," he gives him a whole thing about how we both second sons, yada yada yada. And first, Daemon, what they got to do with me? Blah blah blah. And then he talk about the king, and Daemon says, "Look, ho ho ho, that's my brother. I can talk about it if I want to, but you will not." stuff like that. And then Corliss, talking to him about them getting together, go take out the crab feeder. Let me holler at you. How you felt about that last scene with Damon and Corliss there?
Again, he got to watch that tone and that tongue. Like I keep saying, he stay being out of pocket, and somebody is going to check his ass. And look what happened. He got checked. He was sitting up there he was in that chair looking mad stupid. Now you got to change the subject. He's looking crazy. That was embarrassing, man. I don't care how rich in your fleet is. That was an embarrassing moment, man. You should have just kept it nice and tight and quick.
I mean, that's life. Like, if I'm mad at my brother, I can talk shit about you. Can't talk shit about him. Like, that's just
right.
How shit go, whatever, like that. He should have known. But why you feeling about that last scene, though?
Well, okay, before I say that, I did just think of something. And what was her name who just put the quote up?
Citizen Jane?
Citizen Jane. Yes, this is a great point. So he was not in fear of his death because there has not been war. So we're putting that on him like, oh, he needs to pick a wife soon or I'm putting that on him because he might die soon. He's not thinking about death. He's thinking he got a whole long life ahead of him. So he should have been with that little girl because that would have secured his family bloodline, yada, 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 when she turned legal in their terms.
It's not only that. It's like, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Should have been with her. On top of that, that's the same again for Raynera. That's to her. It's like the third time y'all got me. First, y'all let me be the queen twice. Then I give you my daughter, and you say no. It's like, what the fuck? You don't even like me, so I feel like that was bad, in that way.
It's really bad blood, and that's the type of bad blood that overthrows kingdoms. And as you can see, that's where we're at now, where Damon and Corliss are talking, and it's about to go down. He got dragons and he got ships. So once they take out, I don't know if they're going to take out this crab dude. I think something's going to happen with that. Or maybe they'll become allies with the crab man.
Okay.
I think that's what's going to happen, and it's going to be like.
Citizen Jane says the series is simple. They don't talk about it, but Damon knows his brother is slow. Yes, he does. Josh, how you feeling about the last scene with Corliss and Damon?
Yeah, unfortunately, Corliss did not read the room and clearly didn't understand Targaryens. And out of all the Targaryens living right now, Damon is at the top of the list of being the most Targaryen there is in terms of ruthlessness, in terms of ambition. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, imagine if someone was complaining to Corliss about his daughter. He would say the same thing. So why would you do that to the brother of the king? That was just not wise at all. He let his feelings get the better of him. Like he was the most calculated to that point, but he let the crabby man, get him out of pocket, basically. Thank you.
I think it was the crab man, and it was the fact that they didn't pick his daughter. I think all that got him all emotional and shit like that.
Hell yeah, all that.
Yeah,
all of that.
Because later on, Damon could go back to the king and be like, yo, this dude talking mad shit about you, bro. Like, I don't know if you know or not. You might want to get rid of him. Not saying that he would, but he could do that. You know what I mean?
Thank you. By the way, I was actually thinking, could Corliss and make the same offer to Damon, and Damon say yes?
Oh,
about marrying his daughter? He could. Yeah. Since Damon girl can't have no kids any goddamn way, he could. He don't like his ugly wife that he got to veil. So,
And he's a male, and he would have a stronger claim to the throne and a true traditional Targaryen manner. So to me, that would make the most sense.
That would be so smart.
That's why Otto is working on him. Corliss is trying to appeal to Damon's ego. He doesn't understand that Damon would do it to protect his brother. This is true.
Because not all siblings like each other. Like, let's keep it real. Some siblings hate each other, like to the core. Like, that's a thing. So I think that he kind of missed that because he thought that. You also have to remember they thought that Damon was plotting to kill his brother too. Like, this is the talk in the room. So he went in there trying to appeal to that ego and to that, to kind of talk crap, like, oh yeah, common enemy, like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing. And he checked them real quick, like, yo, that's my brother. Like, you got the wrong idea here.
Right, like you forget that's the king, and we talk like I agree with that. Like you got to watch. That's what I know about people, man. Not just like Targaryens or people. Like people will talk mad shit about people, but once you join them, they're gonna become a protector of that person, defend that person. So just listen. Right. Don't say shit because once you join in, like you ever talk to a girl who talk about her boyfriend, and you be like, "Yeah, he ain't shit, man." But fuck, that's my nigga. Like you can't like add into the shit or whatever. Like it's some real stuff, and that's where Corliss went wrong at. So a lot of stuff happened, like close, not a lot of action, but we did get the story moving along. So let me ask you, how would you rate the episode 1 to 10, brother?
1 through 10. I would give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8 because there was no fight. There was no, no clash, no metal to metal, no heads rolling, no bloodshed. So I give it an 8 because it was still good without it.
Okay, let me ask Chloe, what you thinking?
Strong 7.
Okay, fair. Josh?
Like I fell asleep a little bit. Not gonna lie.
I heard you were so mad about She-Hulk being so short too. I said, Chloe mad as hell.
That pissed me off too. Yeah,
I was really upset. I was like, "That's it." And then I was really mad because you told me what's gonna happen, Mike. Thanks. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's rewatch that.
We'll get to that. Josh, how would you rate it?
Spoiler king.
Not my fault. I know stuff. I drink and I know things.
I know things and I tell things.
But yeah, I give it a solid 8 because to me this is quintessential Game of Thrones. You had drama, you had shit hitting the fan, like literally, like it's kind of like you have a string, like a thread string that's breaking apart, and you have scissors just going back and forth about to hit it, and shit just hits the fan that close but doesn't because they're just saving it for something bigger later. Love it.
I'm gonna give it an 8 too, and I like James' point here. That's because Sarah doesn't have his own mind, which is why he has small accounts for everything. He really does go to them a lot. Like, I don't think I've seen them meet this much in the original Game of Thrones. If they meet in this House of the Dragon, they always fucking everyone together. Like, God damn it,
Then you don't listen to him. So what's the point?
Yeah, I agree. But thank you, Jane, for all your comments. Thanks to everybody for watching. We'll be back here every Tuesday, talk about Game of Thrones, right between 7:30, 8 p.m. We'll be back She-Hulk this weekend. Talk about that. And for the rest of y'all, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all soon. I want to let Chloe about this spoiler she's talking about.